Okay, so good morning once again, everyone. This week we will continue on discussing or doing this practical for cursor. So last week we already covered for number one and number two. So today we will look at number three, cursor for loop. Number four, cursor expression, which is the nested cursor, and then number five, transaction control. Okay, so we look at how to lock a table when we do update, like for a query of select for update and for update cursor. Okay, so we'll discuss these three things for today. All right, so definition of cursor. Just a recap on what is cursor. Of course, cursor is the temporary work area created in the system memory when SQL statement is executed, right? So we have looked at two type of cursor. We have implicit. Implicit is defined by Oracle, and explicit cursor is the one that is created or defined by user. Okay, so we have done this last week for explicit and implicit. So today we will look at um, sample three, right? Sample three kan. Okay, so I hope some of you already submitted the task for last week, which you need to just you need to do some improvement on the statements or the queries. So some of you already submit. Thank you for your submission, and those who have not submitted yet, please do your submission as soon as possible. Okay, so sample three. Okay, so we look at sample three. So I know this SQL this text file is available for you to use. But of course, as always, I want you all to practice writing the scripting. So I prefer for you to type the script. Okay, so we will now look at cursor for loop. Okay, so we have this cursor for loop. So it's it's similar with for loop, numeric for loop that we have, the normal for loop. So for the numeric for loop, it executes the body of loop once for every integer value in a specified range. Okay, so for this cursor for loop, what happened is that if it's cursor for loop, it will execute the body. Okay, it will execute the body of the loop once every for each row written by the query. Okay, we look at it. We will look at an example in this script here. So the cursor for loop, okay, cursor for loop, this one, this is how we include cursor for loop. So means we for and then include the cursor that we defined previously, right? And then we start the loop. Okay. So this cursor for loop statement, it allows us to fetch every row, okay, every row from a cursor, every row from this cursor means every row from this table, selecting the row, this employee number, last name, first name, email, and office code without manually managing the execution cycle of cursor. Remember, for cursor, we have open, fetch, and close, right? So if you notice here, we don't have that. We don't have open, we don't have fetch, we don't have close for this cursor because it's using for loop. So that's the purpose of this for loop cursor, cursor for loop. So if we use for loop cursor, it will we will the scripting will not have to read for open, fetch, and close as the normal cursor will do. All right. So in this can like this one is depending on how you want to query your database. So this example here, we have a store procedure. Okay, we have this procedure. This is the name of the procedure, and we want to list out some employee details using this for loop. So the employee details are the employee number, the last name, the first name, the email, and also the office code. Okay. So every time we have a loop, we need to end the loop. All right. So now I want you to type in this. Okay. I give you maybe 5 to 10 minutes to type this one and see, and you can try to run and see what is your output. Okay. So you type this first, and then I will show you my output, and then we discuss the output. Then you can try it at your side. Right? Can you do that?
Okay.
Okay. Please raise hand after you finish typing in, yeah? Thank you. Okay. I think those who are still typing, you can go on. So I continue to show my result. You can also do the same. You just need to execute your procedure, right? So you just execute this procedure, PRC underscore EMP underscore F. You should get the result. Ito na. Need to set server output, right? Because we have this one, right? It's a good practice for us to set server output on every time we want to use PLSQL. Execute. Mm, got your output ready. Actually, 20. And you should get something like this. Okay, so the output is referring to this one. Okay, so we have the row count. Okay, the row count referring to this cursor. Okay, we created the cursor, and then the cursor is pointing to the table employees, and then select the employee number, the last name, the first name, the email, and the office code, right? So the output of this cursor should show you the order by employee number. Okay, so it follows it order by the employee number from the lowest number to the uh, biggest number. Okay, so we have here, look at the output. We have the row count, the numbering, and then you have the employee number, and then you have the last name, this one, the last name, and then we have the comma here, and then we have the first name, uh, Diane, and the email, okay, email, and then the last row, the last column will show us the office code, okay, the office code. Right. So this is how we use for loop for a cursor. Okay. So for a for loop cursor, you will it will use this statement, which we have for, means we define a new name. In, we need to put in referring to the previous cursor that we declared, and we start the loop. Okay. So here, if you notice, this is actually referring to the this cursor that is created previously. Okay, so I repeat, for this for loop cursor, the purpose is that it allows you to fetch every row from this cursor without manually managing the execution cycle that we have in the previous examples. We have the cursor structure. We need to have the fetch, right? Open. We have the open, fetch, and close. Okay, so we need to open, fetch, close. But if we can use for loop for us to eliminate that execution cycle of open, fetch, close. Okay, like you notice here, we don't have open, fetch, close. We use loop function. Okay, for loop for cursor. So this is special, only we use this statement only for a cursor. So we have another normal or numeric for loop statement, for loop query. That one is usually for integer value in our structure, in our scripting. Okay, so this is for cursor for loop. So what is the fundamental difference between a fetch compared to a for loop in reading rows from the cursor? Okay, so this is what I mentioned just now. So with cursor for loop, the process of opening, fetching, and closing are implicitly handled. Okay, so your task for this sample three, later on after I finish demo of the script to you, you will need to modify the procedure to list the name of the reports to employee. Procedure to list the name of the reports to employee. Okay, so this one we will need to do later on. Okay, so we go back to this letter. I will open an assignment in your Google Classroom. All right, so the next part of this practical, we have this cursor expression. Okay, so for cursor expression, some information on what is cursor expression. So different from implicit and explicit cursors, this cursor expression, also known as cursor variable, it is not tied to any specific query. Okay, so meaning that cursor expression, or a cursor also known as cursor variable, it can be opened by any query. So to declare a cursor variable, we will be using ref cursor. Okay, so if you want to use cursor expression in our query, we use ref cursor. So the advantage of this ref cursor is that it has over a plain cursor that can be passed as a variable to a procedure or function. So this ref cursor It is not a cursor. This is not a cursor, right? But this is a cursor variable. It's a variable that points to a cursor. Okay. So once the cursor type is defined, so how do we use this cursor expression? We need to first declare the type. Okay. So we put in the type of the cursor, and then um, you will be defining the actual variable. Okay, actual variable to, defined as the cursor type. Okay, so this is the actual variable that we will be using in this query. So we have this ref cursor. It's not a cursor, but it's a variable that points to a cursor, to this cursor. Okay, so we have this first declare, or we first identify the type of the cursor, and then we declare it as the ref cursor. So we have this variable, cursor variable. We point back to the reference cursor. Okay, so we have the a declaration of some variables here, referring to the product lines table and also products table, right? And then we have this reference cursor, the the cursor that is used in this query. So as usual, we declare or we define the cursor, name it as cursor C1 is, okay. So we select product line, the text description, and then inside this cursor we have another cursor to do this to do this query, okay, from product lines A. And then now we go to the usual structure of PLSQL. We have begin, and then we need to open, fetch, and close, the usual structure of a cursor. So we open C1, okay, open this C1 cursor, and then you have a loop here, which this will process each row of query result set. So you fetch the statement in, or the query in C1 here into these variables that is defined previously. And then if you notice here, we have the cursor variable also included here. And then the loop the loop exit when C1 is not found. Okay, exit this when exit this fetching when it's not found. So you will have output of the product line, the description, and then another loop. Inside the loop, you have this to process each query of the sub-query result set. So you fetch from the cursor variable into these variables that we declared previously, and exit when this cursor variable is not found. And then we have another output, the product code, the product name, and you end loop. And you have another output, the number of product in this line. So here it will check back with the product, the cursor variable. Okay, it will give us the row count of it, and then you end the loop, the main loop. And then you have the another output, total product lines that was count, that was in that was stated in your result. And then last one is, you every time you have fetch, you open, first you open, and then you fetch, and then you need to close. Okay, so now I want you to type this as well. Okay, so I want you to practice typing the this scripting. So I give you, this one is a bit long. Maybe I give you to 10 to 15 minutes to type this all. Okay, and then we will look at the output. Hold on na. The output is actually will directly given to you when after you finish typing in this, right? So as usual, type this script, and please press hand after you finish. Give you 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Six of you already finished. So I think we can look at the output now. Thank you. So those who are still typing, maybe you can stop for a while and let's look at the output. Yeah. So here this sample for this procedure, this stored procedure is using a cursor expression. So we want to list out all products for each product line. Okay, list out all products for each product line. So this it's using reference ref cursor. So the output is you should get something like this, right? So we have the product line, classic car, and then we have the description. Okay. Description here we have the product line name, and then the description, and then we fetch the product list cursor, the variable of the reference the cursor variable, and put it into the product code, input into the product code, product name, and the MSRP. So it exits when this cursor variable is not found in this fetch activity. Okay, so we have this, the product line is classic cars, and then this is the description, and then we have the product code and the MSRP, and then we have the product name. Okay, product name, product code, the price is the MSRP, and the product name. Okay, so this one, product code, this one, and then the price is the MSRP, and then the product name. Okay, so it will list out because it's a loop, so it will keep looping for this product line. Okay, until it cannot find the product line, until all the row has been inserted into the result, into the query result. Okay, so you will see a lot. Okay, if it has a lot. Okay, so and then we have product line motorcycles and so on. We have another one, planes. So if you notice here at the end, number of product in this line. Okay, number of product in this line. So here after the loop is the loop inside the loop. Here we have another loop inside the loop. So after it ends the loop, it will give this output, and then it will give the raw count of the products in this line. So there are 12 products in this product line. So main plans, it has 12 product lines. Okay, so you will get banyak. It's a very long result, and then you should see at, uh, after the cursor is closed, you will get this. You will see this procedure successfully completed. Okay, so depending on your database and how you want to do your query, I think in your assignment, you need to include also a cursor. You also need to include cursor. Each student will need to include cursor. So you can pick whichever that is that you think is suitable for you to use in your for your assignment. Okay, so you can use explicit cursor, you can use implicit cursor, you can use this reference cursor as well, and also the for loop cursor. Okay, so you can pick whichever type of cursor that you want for your assignment purpose. Okay, so the last sample we have. So every time we want to update the record, right? So let's say example that the database is accessed by more than one person. Example, okay. So we will need to lock the table or lock the update, lock the record. So while updating it, so you can use cursor to lock a table while updating a record in the table. Okay, so sometimes um, maybe in any case, like it can happen that you want to lock a set of rows before you can update them in your program. So Oracle provides for update, okay, for update clause of the select statement. So we use select for update in an updatable cursor to perform the locking mechanism. Okay, so Oracle gives this clause for update under select statement. It will lock your table when you want to update the a record. Okay, so it will hold the select statement will hold the records for your changes only as you move through the rows that is retrieved by the cursor. So no one else, like no other DBA will be able to change any of this record until you perform rollback or a commit. Okay, so here let's just go through this scripting here. So we declare we declare a cursor, right? So the cursor here, we name it as cursor one. So this cursor one will be called uh, for update cursor. Okay. So this one, it will be called for update cursor. This one. Okay. So here, this cursor, it is selecting all. Okay. The asterisk here is referring to all rows from the table product, okay, from the table product, and then for update. So every time the query reads this for update, it will lock this table, okay, until you finish the query. Okay, and we declare a new variable here. So it refers back to the MSRP row from the product table, and it applies the data type of MSRP in products table to this new variable. Okay, so by now you should also already understand what this means. Okay, the percentage type. So you declare a new variable referring to the data type of MSRP in the products table. Okay, so we begin the procedure. So here we also use for loop. Okay, we also use for loop. That means we will not have the open fetch close statement. Okay, so because we use for loop, right? So if you use for loop cursor, you don't have in cursor you don't have to open fetch close your cursor. Okay, so in this statement here, for this cursor one underscore rec in cursor one, referring back to this one. So it will refer to this condition. There is an if condition here. The cursor one underscore rec will refer to the MSRP value from the product table. If it's less than 100, okay, if it's less than 100, so this is a condition of if the cursor, if the MSRP is less than 100, then it will update the product table. This query will update products table by set the MSRP from product table. It will do this function. Okay, 1.2 times the value of MSRP. So we will have also where clause here, where current of cursor one. Okay, it refers back to the cursor. So only a for update cursor can appear in the current of clause of an update or delete statement. So here we have an update statement. Okay, so this current of clause will only appear for a for loop update. Okay, and then we have the new variable will be declared as will count this equal to this this statement, this query, and then this what do you call it, this function. Okay, and then we have an output of the price of product and refers to the for cursor here, and then refers to the product code from products table. And then this one is for formatting. If you have done the previous task, edit your report presentation, you will know what is this. So you will need to do the previous task for you to know what is this. Okay, those who have submitted should know already what is this, right? And then we have another row. We have the product name, and then change from this MSRP. Okay, it will show the update from the previous MSRP, the current of MSRP to the new price. Okay, new price is when it comes to this. Using this, it will use this to give the output of here. And then the if statement, the if condition is a clause, it's end, and if, and we open if here, we need to end if, and then also end the loop. Yeah, and we have loop here, and then you end the loop, and then you end this procedure. Okay, so you should see here it that means when this is run, okay, because you have this for update from the beginning, declared from the beginning. So when this is done, others will not be able to access the table product. Or because here it's select all, that means this products table will not be available for others to access or to edit. Okay, so now as usual, the last scripting, this last sample for today, I want you to type in this and we will look at the output together. So this one I give you 10 to 15 minutes and then we discuss the output. As usual, please raise hand after you finish typing the script. Thank you. For update is for us for the query. to lock the table. For update, it's state mention it gives you this feature locking the table. So means every time you use select for update, everything that you select from the table. For this one, all right. So the products, this products table will be locked because of this statement here. When this is run, right? When this is run, this product table will be locked. Okay, so
Oh,
yeah, we are assuming that they are other DBA, they are other like your friends like kan accessing the same database. They will not be able to access products table when you run this query. Okay, got it?
okay. Thank you.
All right, so if you already finished, so let's look at the result. Yeah, thank you. So let's see. Now, okay, so this is the procedure that we have done. So once you finish the procedure, you will get the result. Okay, so you see this output. Okay, so you here you get the price of products, and then you get the product code, set the product code, and then the product name, change from, the change from. So here, if you change from, I don't know, where will be product code, change from, and then the MSRP, the previous MSRP, okay, the current MSRP was changed to the to a new price. Okay, so the new price was calculated using this formula. Formula. Okay, this now I mentioned function time. So this is the formula that was assigned to the MSRP value to this product code. Okay, so you'll see all our updated. Yeah, so you should get this. Okay, and then it's successfully completed. Okay, so another thing that I want to highlight for this locking the table, the last sentence here, no one else will be able to change any of these records until you perform either a rollback or a commit. Okay, a rollback is where you want to roll back the previous query, right? And then usually for this type for this select for update, usually we want to commit. Okay, commit is when you want to save the update that we have done for the table. Okay, like now if you like you exit your SQL Plus now, and then you do again, and then you go do again this, and you run this again, this query, you will get the same. Like technically, you should have different value, right? Because you already done it previously, right? Hold on. So like for this one, so you already run it previously, so you get this new value for this product code, right? And then you close your SQL Plus, and then you run this again, you will get the same thing. Okay? Why? Because you did not commit. Okay, you did not commit the update that was done for this table. Okay, but for this course, for this practical, I don't need to do the commit because we will still be using the same database for our next practical session. So I just want to let you know that this locking the table, it's for now it's still locked. Unless you do this commit or rollback. Okay, but if you close your SQL Plus, of course, this one will be released. Okay, so this one, I you will not be able like to see the effect of locking the table in for yourself for your case for this course because you only you is accessing the database. Okay, so let's talk about if it's in real life in the industry. For example, you work in a database company like a database that there is one database server. Let's say, for example, like you have 10 people, one of them is you. Okay, 10 people accessing the same database. So this because you are updating the value, right? So the value in your database, you want to remain, you want to make it like you want to make it like if you make changes at the same time others cannot access the table that you are currently working on. Okay, so this select for update statement is useful for that particular situation where you have more than one database administrator accessing the same database. Okay, so this one is usually you can think of the real world scenario outside. where there are more than one person accessing the same database. Okay, got it? The purpose of this. So you can do commit or rollback to stop locking the table so that other people can access this table to do their query, right? Okay, okay, I understand now.
So the rollback is like the undo.
Yeah, rollback is undo. Like you don't want to do
Okay.
the yeah. So after you done, if you done either one of these, the locking will be released. So means other database admin that have access to the same database will be able to access to this table again. Okay, understand that? Okay, so there are some. So we have this. This is actually the RD for our database for this course. So referring to this, so you already have all this database in your machine. You're supposed to have all this database in your machine. So you have five questions here. So I want you to try to do this. Okay, try to do this. So for the task for this week, you have for the sample four, um, sample four, sample four to update. Sample three kan, sample three kan. Okay, this one. So you modify the procedure list to list the name of the reports to employee. What does this mean now? Reports to employee. Okay, so you check again the rows that you have in employees table. So you see if you have this. Because this one I did previously. I'm not sure if this one is included in the table. Okay, so if it's not there, let me know. Okay, so for your main task for this week, you need to submit this. Okay, so I strongly encourage you to do this. Okay, so that you can have the idea on how to play around with your own database for your assignment later on. Okay, so you need to write a procedure to print out all products for a given product line. So this one is actually the same thing that you have previous in sample. I think in sample three. Okay, and then the procedure will receive product line as input. Okay, so you create a procedure which will ask the user to input a product line, and then you only print useful relevant information. Okay, so you print all products for given product line, so it should be only the product line with the product code and also maybe product name. Okay, and then procedure to list all order details for each order for a particular date range of order date. Okay, so this is actually ideas for you to do for your assignment as well. So let's say like you have how many people in your group? Three kan? So maybe later when you want to do like the cursor, right? Every let's say for example, the assignment require you to to provide three cursor statement, for example. So maybe the first member can do number one, second member can do number two, the third member can do number three. Okay, so all these this task actually gives you the idea on how you should do your assignment. So that's why I strongly encourage you to do this and submit so that you are confident to do your own assignment. Do this for your own assignment for your own database. Okay. So I think that's all for this lecture. Thank you so much, everyone. A lecture practical. So thank you so much, everyone, for your attention for this practical for cursor. So next week we will look at another type of um, query for PLSQL. So I have. Do you have any question before I let you do this task?
No.
Okay. So everyone is here, right? Okay. So I want to make an announcement here, a very important announcement. I already announced about midterm test, right? So that one will happen in week 8. So another thing that will also happen in week 8, new lecturer will be taking over this course from me. Okay, so that means starting week 8, I will not be teaching you you all for this course anymore. Okay. Um, the new lecturer will take over in week 8. So our with me, you will only have this class with me. Start next week is the last week that you will have this course with me. So I will still continue doing the next lecture and the next practical for next week. So the midterm test will be arranged by your new lecturer. Okay? Okay. Yeah?
What's the name of the new lecturer?
The name, he's new in Tayo. He's also a part-time lecturer. It's a guy. He have not received, dia belum officially join lagi, so that I cannot like give like information like his email or his contact number yet. I will give it to you once I get his information, maybe next week. Okay?
Okay.
It's a guy. So maybe he's better than me, right? Hopefully. Um, so if you have no more question, you can continue to do the task for this week. I will open an assignment for you to submit your output for this task. Okay? For the task that I showed to you just now, the last page of your practical form. All right. So thank you so much once again. So I let you do the task for this week and just leave the mid session letter at 10:50 as usual. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.